De l'ordre du jour, s'il vous plaît.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move that we adopt the agenda of the regular meeting of Tuesday, October the 1st, 2024, modified by removing items number 11B and C and 16A and B.
Thank you very much. Councillor Feeney, can I have a seconder?
I second the motion.
Thank you very much. Councillor Small-Pennefather, all in favor, please.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Approbation des procès-verbaux.
Je propose d'approuver les procès-verbaux des séances de conseil tenues aux dates suivantes. Séance ordinaire de 26 août 2024, séance spéciale de 12 septembre 2024.
Merci, la conseillère Small-Pennefather. L'appui, s'il vous plaît.
Oui, je l'appuie.
Merci, la conseillère Yulin. Tout en faveur, s'il vous plaît.
Oui.
Parfait. Il n'y a rien sur correspondance. We'll go right to report of the mayor. Good evening, everybody. Welcome. As we reported in our August council meeting, the town administration met with SAJO, the developers of the Easton project. The meeting was supposed to be held the day after our last council meeting, but was postponed by SAJO, and it was actually held yesterday. The updates that we've received: they are proceeding with the cleaning of the bricks. They are currently working on finishing the interiors. They are coordinating sidewalk reconstruction with the town, and they anticipate finishing the building in October. Comme nous l'avons indiqué dans notre réunion de conseil du mois d'août, l'administration municipale a rencontré SAJO, les promoteurs du projet de Easton. Cette réunion devait avoir lieu le lendemain de notre dernière réunion, mais a été reportée par SAJO et s'est tenue hier. Les informations que nous avons reçues sont les suivantes. Ils procèdent au nettoyage des briques. Ils travaillent actuellement à la finition des intérieurs. Ils coordonnent la reconstruction des trottoirs avec la ville et prévoient de terminer le bâtiment en octobre. I attended two interesting meetings these past couple of weeks. The first meeting, organized by Christina Smith, the mayor of Westmount, brought together the president of Concordia, Graham Carr, Anna Gainey, our MP, Jennifer Macaron, the MNA covering Westmount, Serge Chasseville, independent councillor from Montreal, representatives of the EMSB, and Mayor Alex Botashi from DDO, and Mary Gallery, councillor for Westmount. Another meeting was held the following week, organized by Jeremy Levy, mayor of Hampstead, and it included Pierre-Paul Huss, conservative MP, Neil Oberman, Michael Goldwax and Jason Farber, two Hampstead councillors, Joe Ortona from the EMSB, Eda Uden from CIGA, and Jose Ramon Nunez, the DG in Hampstead. In both cases, the topics were relatively similar, doing what we can to ensure that we have peace on our campuses and in our towns. J'ai assisté à deux réunions intéressantes ces dernières semaines. La première réunion, organisée par Christina Smith, mairesse de Westmount, a rassemblé le président de Concordia, Graham Carr, Anna Gainey, notre députée fédérale, Jennifer Macaron, députée qui dessert Westmount, Serge Sasseville, conseiller indépendant de Montréal, des représentants de l'EMSP et le maire de DDO, Alex Botashi, et Mary Gallery, conseillère à Westmount. Une autre réunion a eu lieu la semaine suivante, organisée par Jeremy Levy, maire de Hampstead, Pierre-Paul Huss, député conservateur, Neil Oberman, Michael Goldwax et Jason Farber, conseillers municipaux de Hampstead, Joe Ortona de l'EMSB, Ed Youn de CIJA et José Ramon Nunez, directeur général de Hampstead. Dans les deux cas, les thèmes abordés étaient relativement similaires. Faire ce qui est en notre pouvoir pour garantir la paix sur nos campus et dans nos villes. That's it. I want to bring up tickets going on sale for the Culinary Gala, but I'll leave that to Councillor Feeney. And I think that's it for my report. Please thank you and look after each other. And just if I forget, I want to wish a Happy New Year to our Jewish residents and our Jewish friends that are listening in tonight. Thank you very much. We're going to move now on to reports from our councillors. We're going to start with seat number 3, reporting on matters pertaining to finance, recreation, and topics related to the status of an age-friendly municipality. Councillor Colleen Feeney.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor, and welcome. Good everyone. Bonsoir. I'll start off with the finance report. The deadline for sending in your water meter readings was September the 26th. if you have not sent them in yet, we will give you a little bit of a grace to send them in as soon as possible to avoid the $50 fee for estimating your water usage. And the invoices will be sent out on October the 22nd. On September the 5th, there was the annual general meeting for the pension fund, and the 2023 financial statements were approved by the pension committee. Le département des finances travaille sur les prévisions pour 2024 et le budget 2025, et l'hôtel de ville sera fermé le lundi 14 octobre pour le jour de l'Action de grâce. In disbursements, which will be passed later on in the meeting, you'll see that we've actually had particularly large disbursements this past month, and they amounted to $202,153. 4.4 of that went to SAJO for the construction of our recreation center. In total, on infrastructure projects, which included Avon and SAJO and some work done in the town hall for our ventilation, we paid about $4.6 million in infrastructure works last month, which accounted for almost 90% of that entire spending. Other major spending last month was, of course, deductions of source and utilities, which were about $220,000. The regular things in public works, contract work, $25,000. Environment and trees, $37,000. Garbage, $75,000. And vehicles, taking care of the vehicle fleet repairs, etc., $31,000. In the recreation area, of course, the major expenditures were for the summer programs, which was the day camp recreation programs and pool, and those expenditures amounted to, of course, about $40,000. So those were the major expenditures this past month that you will hear passed. I'll start with the community. I'll go to recreation now, and in the community center, most of the fall programs have begun, and there are a few new programs for families and teens. And there's also another parents' night out for 4 to 10-year-olds. That's on Friday, September the 27th. These are proving very, very popular. That one's sold out, and so they're looking at new ones now for Friday, October the 18th from 5 to 9 p.m. and Saturday, November the 30th from 5 to 9 p.m. And there will also be babysitting courses run by the Red Cross, November 24th for 11 to 16-year-olds. Pickleball is now, you can now sign up for it online 3 nights a week out of Royal West Academy Gym. So you can look for the signing up on Amelia. We had a few special events, and the last outdoor one was the Montreal-Ouest pop-up event on September 21st. It was very successful. We had great music by the Blue Mondays Jazz Orchestra and Shawnee, who did music for the youngsters. We had 24 vendors, artisans, authors, and residents who participated, and it was really a very successful event. Thank you to everybody who participated. Upcoming, we have the Spooktacular Family Fun, Le Plaisir Effrayant en Famille, which will be held on Friday, October the 25th in the evening from 5 to 7:30 p.m. in Davies Park or in the Town Hall in case of rain. You will get to meet the giant skeleton. There will be craft stations, pumpkin decorating, face painting, sweets, and more. And this is early notice, but, we'll probably have quite a few people. It was very popular last year. Sunday, November the 24th, Holiday Hounds. Sign up your dog for a photo opportunity with Santa. Okay? The other very big event that I want to let everyone know about is the Culinary Gala, which will take place on November the 9th here in the Town Hall. Now, this is a big fundraiser for the new recreation center. The proceeds will go to the new kitchen in the recreation center. It will involve cocktails, meals from some of our top chefs, some of who do live in town. There will be an auction, lots of things to do, and it should be great. The spaces will be limited. The tickets will be going on sale on Amelia very soon. They will cost $175. There is limited space, but honestly, it'll be really worth your while because I think it's going to be really quite a spectacular evening. Les événements sont affichés sur le site web de la ville, sur Facebook et sur Amelia si une inscription est nécessaire. Un bulletin électronique est également envoyé pour les événements à venir. The Recreation Center, work is progressing well, as you can see from the bill. I think we're about over 40% completed by now, and we will be giving an update in one of the upcoming informers. Seniors, today, if there's any seniors in the audience, today is National Seniors Day, and the town had many activities devoted to that. It started off with a nature walk in the Parc des Rapides in LaSalle, was followed by refreshments and a very interesting lecture entitled Pharmacists Wear White Coats and Many Hats. The lecture was given by pharmacist Larissa Feldman with an intro by our pharmacist Mayor Benny Masala. And it was really informative. So I want to thank everyone for their participation. It was very well attended. And there's a lot of activities that are going on right now in the 50 Plus Club and the Active Walking Group, which has really taken off right now. They've had walks in the past to the Falaise. And we will be going on November the 5th to Point Claire to the National Field of Honor and have a little tour there in honor of Remembrance Day. So that's really gaining popularity. We'll also have another lecture that will be on Thursday, November the 14th. It's called An Experience in Politics. It's at 1 p.m. It will be a talk by Desiree McGraw, our member of the National Assembly of Quebec. And for the 50 Plus Club, we have a very successful play in September 18th, and the members have received the brochure for the activities that are going to be happening between September and December. There's an amazing amount of activities going on, including 2 dining experiences, one to a cooking school downtown, another Chinese dining experience here. If you are not a member and you want to just join into 1 or 2 of the activities, check it out on the website. So that's it for the 50 Plus Club. And finally, on the seniors portfolio, Caring Neighborhood Day will be held on Saturday, November the 2nd. Seniors who would like help, or seniors or disabled people, anybody who needs help putting their gardens to bed, getting things ready for the winter, you can sign up at the community center. We will have a team of Loyola students and residents who are willing to help out and come and supervise the work. And hopefully, we did this in May for getting gardens set up. And hopefully we'll have as good a response as we did then. So if you're interested in either having work done or you're interested in volunteering to supervise some of the students, please call the community center. That's it for me. Si vous avez des questions, n'hésitez pas à m'envoyer un courriel ou me poser plus tard dans la réunion. Thank you very much. Bonsoir.
Thank you very much. Councillor Feeney, reporting from seat number 4 on matters pertaining to urban planning, Councillor Maria Torres.
Good evening. Bonsoir à tous. During the last month, the Urban Planning Department issued 30 permits, mostly for renovations and for public domain interventions. 1 fine was given for work without permit. During the above-mentioned period, the Planning Advisory Committee, PAC, met once and reviewed a total of 8 files. Next PAC meeting will be held on October 9th and on the 23rd. The deadline to submit complete files is 2 weeks prior to the meetings. Les prochaines réunions du Comité consultatif d'urbanisme aura lieu le 9 et le 23 octobre. Les dates limites pour soumettre les dossiers complets sont 2 semaines avant les réunions. Just want to remind you that all applications for permits and other authorizations must be done via the town's website. N'oubliez pas que si vous prévoyez d'effectuer des travaux, vous devez toujours vérifier auprès du service d'urbanisme si les travaux projetés nécessitent ou non un permis et que toutes les demandes de permis et autres autorisations doivent se faire via le site web de la ville. Before I go, on my way here, I had posted a call for volunteers to help me pack in the block tower, and I got a very positive response. So I'm very grateful to everybody who responded. I'm going to be calling you from anywhere from tomorrow to Friday to organize the work. But I just want to thank everybody who responded. That was more volunteers that I needed, but it's wonderful. Thank you so much. C'est tout pour moi ce soir. Et si vous avez des questions ou des commentaires, n'hésitez pas à me contacter ou le département de l'urbanisme. Merci et bonne soirée.
Thank you very much, Councillor Torres. Reporting from seat number 1 on matters pertaining to public security, Councillor Lauren Small-Pennefather.
Merci le maire et bienvenue à tous et tous ce soir. Donc avec le retour de l'école, donc juste s'assurer qu'on a une présence, qu'on est vigilante aussi, qu'on est près de nos écoles. On a 3 écoles de notre secteur de Montréal-Ouest. C'est Edinburgh, Elizabeth Ballantyne, puis Royal West Academy. So we just made sure we also had security presence during afternoon pickups and morning drop-offs, just to make sure that people are used to getting back to the routine. Public security, urban planning, and public works continue to supervise the major Montreal agglomeration construction project for the 600 millimeter aqueduct. It seems that they are preparing to open Sherbrooke soon, according to the latest signage plans that they sent to the town, and they've also moved west along Broughton, which means they will be occupying Broughton from Westminster to Brock South. So that's good news. We've seen that it's moved closer now to Westminster with regards to the work that's going on. Aussi, les agences de sécurité publique assistaient à une formation pour la sécurité civile, pour l'agglomération sur les mesures de sécurité d'urgence. The training was more focused on how to requisition additional resources during an emergency measure scenario, such as extreme weather events. As we know, those are becoming more and more often occurrences of extreme weather. PSOs were also certified and recertified for their physical use of force training. PSOs were able to participate in a group training to keep the costs low and participated with other municipalities such as Côte-Saint-Luc, Westmount, TMR, and of course, Montréal-Ouest. Aussi, il y a des restrictions par rapport des tolérances pour le stationnement pour le Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur et l'Action de grâce. Les détails pour le stationnement, pour les tolérances de stationnement sera envoyé par le e-bulletin. So just in terms of parking tolerances for Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Thanksgiving, those details will be sent out via the e-bulletin. The town's website will also inform users of the parking tolerances as well, in effect when accessing the temporary permit section of our site. The tolerance will only apply to overnight parking in order to help accommodate guests of our residents, but it's important to note that all other parking rules remain in effect. This is excellent news. The SPVM has informed us that we now have a dedicated foot patrol unit made up of 2 police officers. They will be walking the beat every day on the territory of Station 9 and using public transit to travel within the territory covered by PDQ9, which means they'll be going in Hampstead, Côte-Saint-Luc, Montréal-Ouest, and Notre-Dame-de-Grâce. So hopefully that will help with some of the speeding issues that we see in the town and a few other issues as well. For the first time this year, the town participated in the CPKC Rail Safety Week. Donc, on avait assisté avec le chemin ferroviaire avec CPKC pour une campagne de sensibilisation. Look, listen, and live. In terms of working with EXO and CPKC, we were giving out a number of literature at the station and making sure students and commuters alike were aware of making sure to be vigilant and using safety precautions when crossing the tracks. And as well, this is very interesting. There was vandalism on the 28th of September where a private residence on Sheraton was egged and toilet papered. I don't think I've heard of something like that for many, many years since I was probably a teenager. There was a nearby camera that caught the culprits on video, and a police report was made. And finally, I'd just like to remind everybody about the leaf blowing season. We want to remind residents that only electric leaf blowers are permitted and only between November 1st and November 30th. If you have a contractor, please ensure that your contractor has a permit from the town. And if it's the homeowner's responsibility to ensure that the contractor abides by our municipal laws. And of course, it's not permitted to blow or dump leaves from a private property onto the road or onto your neighbor's property. I also wanted to take this opportunity for all those who observe to wish Shana Tova as well as a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you this evening. If you want to contact me, you can do so. You can find my email on the website. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Small-Pennefather. And reporting from seat number 2 on matters pertaining to public works, communications, and the environment, Councillor Elizabeth Yulin.
Thank you very much. Bonsoir à tous. So Public Works was busy with various activities this month. A portion of Avon was resurfaced, road and sidewalk repairs were undertaken, and a number of decrepit sidewalks were entirely replaced around town. Our teams also completed a public tree work and began cleaning the parks and green spaces in anticipation of winter. In addition, 3 speed bumps will be reinstalled this week, and an asphalt repair blitz will be ongoing through October. Also in October, the public street tree planting will take place. Switching to the environment portfolio now, the department is currently working on the selection of appropriate indigenous trees for our town tree planting program and updating our waste management system. The Environmental Action Committee announced the winners of its Yard by Yard contest, which challenged residents to transform parts of their conventional lawns into spaces for indigenous plants. Check out the beautiful results in the next Informer. And I want to remind residents that the Free-for-All weekend will take place this coming weekend, actually, October 5th and 6th, where you can place serviceable secondhand items in good condition on the curb for your neighbors to claim for free. It's a great way to tidy up and avoid sending the good stuff to the garbage. Au cours des derniers mois, le service de communication a travaillé sur plusieurs projets, notamment la semaine de la sécurité ferroviaire, la promotion des activités de fin d'été du service de loisirs, les nouveaux programmes et ateliers à venir, ainsi qu'avec la sécurité publique et travaux publics. Et le site web a également été mis à jour pour respecter les nouvelles préoccupations en matière de confidentialité. That's it for me. I'd be pleased to answer your questions at question period. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Yulin. We're going to move on to question period. So we'll start, as I always say with our question period, we start with the people that are in the room. So you're invited to come up, ask your question from the floor, maximum of 25 minutes. We'll limit it to 2 questions per person. It's a question period, it's not a debate period. After that, we'll move on to the questions that were submitted online. Go ahead, Mr. Soden.
Okay, so I always forget. So it's Bob Soden, 26 Easton Avenue. I have 2 questions. One is I had brought to the last meeting about two meetings ago a letter that I'd written to Public Works,
Right.
and I just didn't hear anything back from anybody about it, and I just thought I should get an explanation why it was so unfairly done.
And so let me ask you something, Mr. Soden. The word that I got from Public Works was that you actually requested them to come cut that tree down.
That's not at all correct. I know that the lady who, I guess, answers the phone, I don't know what her position is, this young lady, it sounds like, she actually called me back 3 or 4 times, 3 times, not 4 times, let's say up to 3 times, to get the story straight. Mm-hmm. And I remember she kept getting it wrong after I would tell her. I'm not trying to insult her, she's probably great, but I just mean, I told her exactly what happened, then she called me back and repeated it to me and got it wrong,
okay.
Completely wrong. And so then I explained again. Finally, after the 3rd time, I think she understood, but then I never heard from them. But what I can understand is if you go over to our street, there's 3 other places on our block where trees are spilling onto the road.
Right.
For a foot. And the person who came and did this said that it was because my tree branches were blocking the snowplow that sometimes lifts its blade onto the curb to clear, but I have a telephone pole, and my hedge and my tree, and that's in the Google Maps photo, right, or whatever, yeah, that shows the branches were behind that. So the argument about a snowplow is not correct. But, so why did they do that to me and these other 3 places, which I am not pointing out to have done the same thing. I'm just saying, but so it's it's not a fair treatment. I wanted some kind of a response from the city.
And something
and
else that
also that it could maybe, if I said no, because they said if they could take the tree out and replace it, which is what I wanted, They said, well, you're going to have a hole there for 2 years before we can plant a new one, which I have arguments about. But I would like the right to be able to do something, have the city still do something down the road.
Okay, and just to clarify as well, Mr. Soden, I was also told that the morning that they came to do the work, they rang your doorbell and they explained everything that was going to be done. And again,
Oh my God, that is an out-and-out lie.
Okay, so
I
then-
heard them working outside. I didn't react right away. I didn't know they were on my property.
Okay.
I went outside, and then I said, "What are you doing?" And it's all in the letter,
Right.
what I said. So they never explained everything they were going to do.
Okay.
And
So then-
when they did explain, when I was out there afterwards, after they had already cut half of the branches, they told me, oh, they were just going to go a few more, and they went up to 14 feet. They went another 6 or 7 feet. So it's just really,
So
I don't know.
If it's okay, Mr. Soden, then, because they haven't gotten back to you, let me go back to them and I'll get back to you myself.
okay.
Okay, then I'll
right.
take it onto it. I'm not going to.
So I just wanted to say that I hadn't heard back, and I really want an answer. So that's one. Very quickly, two.
Second question.
We have, right here, the driveway coming out from the town hall.
Yes,
There is a hatched area where people aren't supposed to stop on.
yes.
And not everybody respects it. I don't know why we don't have a sign saying that.
There actually is a sign.
Well, is there? Okay, very
Yeah,
good.
There is a sign.
I'd like the same thing at Ainsley and Westminster, that intersection is hatched, because I often, leaving my home, cannot get out on Ainsley because people have, gridlocked the intersection. They don't wait.
Stop between the stop signs. They're filling in the
They
intersection.
fill in the intersection.
Okay.
Yeah, they
And
do that all the
I
time.
would like a sign saying there'll be a fine. Whether we have policemen to police that's another question. But
Fair enough.
so that's two, but can I just say, there are questions to two things. There's, on the newly paved Avon here,
Yes.
there's at least two, maybe only one. I think there's a manhole that's down about 6 or 7 inches, and it's brand new paved. I don't know
Okay.
why they didn't lift it. So now it's effectively a
Okay,
pothole,
More or less which cross
about
street?
1 block,
One block. Is
west, east of,
It's east of Ballantyne?
I think it's in the new pavement. So I don't know if it's east of Valentine,
I'll have them take a look at it.
but there's
Mr.
at least
Soden.
1 or 2, and they didn't raise it. And then quickly, oh geez, am I going to remember it? I don't want to hold up.
You're pushing it, Mr. Soden.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
Mr. Soden, come see me after. Come see me after, okay?
All right.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Sure. Is this any better? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, if you want to move the mic so that they can look at us and speak, because I think that's the problem.
No, this one's fine, it's just Benny's was off.
Oh, Benny's, oh.
Go ahead, Mrs. Kellerman.
Hi, my name is Linda Gales, and I live at 413 Smart, and I'm here again to ask about the speed bumps. Please install them on Radcliffe. I read in the Informer that you're installing more speed bumps on Ballantyne, Brock, and Stratford. I went and counted all the speed bumps on these streets. It's incredible. There's, on Ballantyne, you already have 8. Brock, there's 9. And on Stratford, there's 6. Now, I mean, in the Informer, the counselor had said that the police are the ones that enforce the speeding regulations, but I think by having all these speed bumps, it's like they're doing the job of the police. So I think, like on Radcliffe, because the police are never around there, it's once in a while. If there's something going on, they'll show up, but otherwise you don't see them. And I think that the speed bumps are a good idea, like to slow the traffic down, that's all. They go too fast on Radcliffe. And I have a park at the end. Rugby Park is there, and by the time they get down there, they're still going through the stop sign, and I mean, there's kids all around,
Okay.
And this is one thing I would really like. I know I sound like a broken record,
No,
but I don't want a kid to be run over
Understand.
by, these people.
So there's been someone else as well that had brought this to our attention. It is in the queue, so we do have to still conduct a study. And then once we get the results from the study, they go to the Community Services Council, the Community Security Council,
Yeah.
which we have. One should be coming up in October. And the reason you see like a discrepancy, let's say you see 6 on one street, 8 on one street, 9 on another street, is because sometimes depending, you have to have a legal amount of space between speed bump to speed bump. Sometimes when a speed bump is in front of somebody's driveway, we can't do that. So that's why we have to move it. Sometimes that's why you'll see some more, sometimes that you'll see less. So once we get the results back, it's definitely in the queue. So I've let public security know it's definitely in the queue, so there will be a study conducted shortly, and then once we get the results back, depending on the volume, the metrics for the volume, as well as the speed, we'll be able to determine the speed bumps.
Okay, but I mean, I don't understand why these streets have so many speed bumps. I mean, you walk faster than the car.
Those are replacements, Mrs.
Hey?
Gales?
What?
Those are replacements.
What do you mean?
They're not new speed bumps. There were speed bumps that were there that
Yeah,
needed
but
to
I
be
know.
repaved.
But still, I mean, to have, and they're all gonna get one more. So on Valentine, they're gonna have 9. I mean, you know,
Yeah.
and I can't even get 1.
Once the studies conduct, like I said, once
But
we have
there was a
this,
study done. There was a thing,
a Doppler,
whatever it's called, and they were taking it was like recording everything. That was before COVID, because I've spoken to the mayor before.
okay, so like I said, it's definitely in the queue, and once we get the results, we should, like I said, be able to make a determination, and then I can contact you with regards to the results, and then when we do have speed bumps that are put in place, I don't know how often it's done, but we can confirm how often it's done during the year, and then if it's up for a speed bump, the speed bumps will be put in place.
Do I have to go get a petition with all the
You
neighbors
don't.
around there?
Like I said last time you were here as well, it takes a little bit of time. It's not the only street that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And once we have like I said, once we have the information, it goes to the committee. Then once we have that information, we'll be able to make the determination, Mrs. Gale.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, I'm going to move to the questions online. So we received a question from Christopher Mariani, 137 Percival. When will the construction on Sherbrooke and Broughton be complete? So Mr. Mariani, from what I could see, they've actually moved now the hole closer. They're right at the corner of Westminster now on the Broughton side. On the Sherbrooke side, I'm not exactly sure. Lauren, did you have an update about where they were, the hole is at on Sherbrooke? The hole on Sherbrooke, the work that's being done on Sherbrooke.
Oh, yes. So according to public security, it seems because they've been able to move the partition closer now, I'm understanding it should be maybe around November.
And they will stop for the winter, even if they're not finished, they
Yeah.
will stop for the winter. Just so people know, this is work that's being undertaken by the City of Montreal, and they're doing it to run a redundant pipe. So right now in Montreal-Ouest, we're being fed by the water plant that's near Atwater, and the idea is that they're running a redundant pipe so that we can have backups, not just for Montreal, but for a lot of little towns and boroughs, to be also fed by the Lachine plant. So that's the idea of running the big pipe down Westmore and through Sherbrooke onto Broughton. Thank you for your question, Mr. Mariani. Next question from Jennifer Melnick, 140 Ballantyne South. Is there any update on repairing the stairs, the green space at the end of Ballantyne South between Courtney and Ronald? It's been closed for 2 years now. What's happening? Would be great to have it reopened and available to use. Councillor Yulin?
Thanks for your question, Jennifer. Underneath that stairs or adjacent to it is a sewer line that's in disrepair and needs to be repaired. So we're having that evaluated. And until that sewer line is evaluated and hopefully repaired, there's nothing we can do with the stairs because that whole area may well have to be ripped up for the sewer line. So that's why it's taken so long. And but you know, we certainly are aware of it, and thank you for your question on it. We just can't deal with it immediately until we get the sewer sorted out. Thanks for your question.
And just for your information, that's the sewer line that empties basically the whole town. It goes down that little green space, and from there it continues down and connects to the City of Montreal's connectors, and then gets sent off to the treatment plant. Next question from Dan Kusher, 49 Rugby Place. In order to mitigate potential flood damage, how can I determine if we have a backflow valve? Now that the flooding has become a greater issue on the island, we find it odd that sump pumps were not mandatory when our project was built in the 50s. If the sump pumps can be retrofitted, is a permit required? Mr. Kuser, yes, they're required now, and backflow valves, the person who can tell you that is your plumber. So have a plumber come in and he can go to the different places, the different outs that you have from like your toilet and stuff in the basement to see whether or not you have backflow valves. And I have to be honest with you, I'm not exactly sure whether a permit is required. So I'm going to answer you back by email. You're supposed to have some pumps now. Whether a permit's required, I'm not exactly sure, Mr. Kuser. So as soon as I get the information back from the town, I'll answer you by email so that you'll have the information. Thanks for your question. Timothy Boulanger at 26 Radcliffe. Is there anything that can be done about people not stopping properly in school zones? It's scary as a parent seeing the people speed on Westminster and then not stop on the side streets. Councillor Small-Pennefather?
Thank you, Mr. Boulanger, for your question. Of course, we have public security presence, like I said, with the beginning of the school year to try to increase presence, to make sure that parents are aware or guardians are aware when they drop off their kids, and other people in the area as well to be conscious of the school zones. We also, of course, I had stated in my report earlier that we now have increased SPVM doing foot patrol, so hopefully there'll be a little bit more presence then. You can also, I can write to you after council, and there's also a complaint that you can make with Station 9 with SPVM as well with regards to your concerns. But public security is aware, but I will say when it comes to the vehicular code, it does, of course, have to be the SPVM that does the citations. It's not public security, but we do have public security there that when they do increase their presence, we're hoping as well that it deters people from speeding or not respecting the speed zones in school zones. Thank you for your question.
Thank you very much. James Mullally, 112 Broughton. Over the past 4 or 5 years, I've submitted requests on the town website for the following reports: traffic engineer reports on Westminster-Sherbrooke intersection, tickets issued for using blowers out of permitted period, report on main drain cleaning on Broughton West for the spring-summer of 2023. I've received none. Why? I was informed a few months ago that the last item had been forwarded to the appropriate manager. After follow-up, I was informed that the town clerk was responsible for the item. As regard to my previous question, is the website the proper way to get action answers, or is it necessary to go to council meetings? So to give you a little bit, Mr. Mullally, Councillor Lauren Small-Pennefather answered you about the crosswalk question November 2022, and Councillor Yulin answered you about the leaf blowers in August 2024 at our public meeting. In terms of requesting documents, if it's a document that exists and you want a copy of it, you can go on the website, and there is a place there where you can access to information. And then that goes to our town clerk who assesses all of those requests. If the report does not exist, we can't produce one, so we don't do the work to count the number of tickets. If we have a report that says there's X number of tickets and the town clerk assesses that it's something that can go out, he goes out. If you don't find that section on the website about the access to information, according to Maître Gilbert, in your email, on the website, in your place when you go on the website to fill in the form, put very clearly access to information, and it should flag and automatically get sent to Maître Gilbert, who handles all of those things. Thank you for your question. Kevin Aladdin, 59 Courtney. Is work continuing on the Easton? What is the completion date? Is there any new road paving planned before the end of the year? Mr. Aladdin, I said in my report before that right now the word that we've gotten from Sajo is that the work on the building will be completed October of 2024. And when we were planning road work this year, because of the work that's going on Sherbrooke and on Broughton, and the work that was going on over here, we paved we paved Avon because we needed to, or we would lose the money, but that's all we wanted to do. We didn't want to complicate things further than that. Thank you for your question. Robert Barnes, 227 Bedbrook. Good evening. Montreal-West is a Bixie desert in between Western NDG and Lachine. Active transport should be encouraged to reduce traffic and pollution and to increase overall fitness of the population. I recall a statement many council meetings ago that the council would look again into how to get some Bixie stations appropriately placed in our town. What are the results of that effort? Thanks. Mr. Barnes, the question, we've actually reached out, and we've actually had the people from PME Montreal and from Bixie reach out to us. The cost of getting a Bixby station back then in it was probably 6 or 7 years ago, was $120,000 for the initial station plus ongoing fees. So that's something that we can reevaluate. The last discussion I actually had with the borough mayor from NDG, they were looking at installing some at the train station, which I thought was a great idea. And if there's, I told them then at the time, if there's a way that I can help make that happen or advocate for that, just to let me know. And that may have fallen a little bit on deaf ears right now because of the work that's been going on, A, with the station itself, and B, with what's going on with the collector pipes. So, but that's something that we can, it continues to stay on our radar, because we kind of agree with you that it would be nice to have at least one station in Montreal-West that can serve Montreal-West, and if we as a small town don't have to pay for it, all the better still. Thank you for your question. Farah Issa from 307 Ronald Drive, what is the story on the closure of the parking space on the roundabout of Ronald, and who are the members of the Planning Advisory Committee? Are they elected or appointed, and by whom? Councillor Torres, please.
Yes, thank you for your question. The answer to the first question is that space is closed at the moment because we are reevaluating that area for redevelopment. So it is closed for that reason. Secondly, who are the members of the Planning Advisory Committee, and whether they're elected or appointed? The members are, besides two of the councillors and the manager of the urban planning department, are residents of Montreal-West. The way that they are appointed is we issue a call for submission, where people who are interested to be part of this committee can apply. And then, in my case, I sat down with the manager and we discussed the applications and who needed to be replaced, and then is finally approved by council. We try to balance the members, making sure that we have enough people in the field to understand about architecture, urban planning, landscaping architect, construction, and all that. So that's the process. We have 9 members. Some of them are full-time and sometimes they're just temporary. But, and they get renewed every time we have a new councillor, or as often as council would decide to do it. I hope I answered your question. Thank you so much.
Mr. Mayor, could I just answer something to that as well? As Councillor Torres said as well, I'm second councillor for urban planning, and these members are not remunerated. Just to make that clear, these are all volunteers who volunteer hours and hours per week. There's usually an urban planning PAC committee almost every single week, and it does take hours to go through all the submissions, hours to go through questions and discussions before recommendations are made. So just wanted to clarify that as well, that these are all volunteers from the town who have a background in either urban planning, architecture, or very similar disciplines, and it is done on a volunteer basis. So I just wanted to clarify that point. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your question. We're moving on now to a question from Asher Waldman, 167 Brock North. During the last meeting, the mayor said that he will meet with the Easton project developer and discuss the possibility for completing the building facade, installing the sidewalk, placing traffic lights permanently, and removal of plastic sheets over the window. Can the mayor report on any progress on the subject? As I stated in my report, Mr. Waldman, it was not me that was going to meet with them, it was the administration. They met with Sajo yesterday. The update that we have is October of this year. They've already removed, I think, all the plastic. And in terms of the sidewalk and the corresponding lights, they're now coordinating with the city when that work is going to get done, because those are our sidewalks. They have to repair them, but those are our sidewalks. So they're working with the city now on how to plan and implement the sidewalk repair. Thank you for your question. Next question from Joyce Crowley, 229 Wolseley North. Please see my request to Lauren Pennefather regarding the town adopting new safety measures to protect our children from the ever-growing non-resident vehicular traffic problem on Halloween. Outside cars and vans often travel way too fast once their kids' loot bags are filled and pose a real threat to trick-or-treating children wandering around our streets. How do we get the danger message across to non-residents and encourage them to park on Westminster and walk with their kids like we do? Could installing block party-style barriers with volunteers on certain street works, other ideas. Councillor Small-Pennefather, please.
Okay, thank you for your question, Joyce. And as I had replied to you earlier in the week, of course, like all towns and municipalities across the island, we like to welcome all children to the town of Montréal-Ouest. We're not a gated community, so we do have vehicular traffic during Halloween, and I understand that there's a safety and security concern. We do have presence of police and public security as well, but unfortunately, with regards to your suggestion to close down streets, we can't manage that logistically. It would be impossible to be able to determine who is a resident, who is not a resident. As you can imagine, we would be asking people to take out their driver's license. You can imagine the kind of traffic that would cause and probably be more of a security issue, but there's also liability issues as well to ask people to volunteer to do that. If you have somebody who's disgruntled with not being allowed to go down a street, you can imagine that can escalate, and we don't want to cause any of that. So we just continue to make sure that we monitor the situation. We do know I live on Ballantyne North. I give out about 1,000 pieces of candy and chips, and we do know that it's quite occupied with a lot of vehicles and children, but we do make sure that there's presence around to make sure that people respect it as much as possible. And as I'd mentioned, you can apply for a permit through the town if you wanted to see if there was a possibility that has to be evaluated, of course, by the town and administration to see if it's possible. You live on a cul-de-sac, perhaps there is a possibility, but with regards to the main streets like Brock and Strathern and Ballantyne North, it would just be impossible for us to manage that magnitude of traffic. But I appreciate your suggestion. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Last question comes from Joanna Dewey, 232 Percival. Dear Town Council, now that the rec center has been under construction for over a year, and it seems that it will be completed in less than a year, I wish, I wonder if Council would consider having a project update presentation for residents. It could include a budget update, construction update, public art plan, and operational plans and budgets, and a question and answer period. Thank you. I think that's a great suggestion, Joanna. So that's something we'll work on within the next month or two. We'll see if we can't put something together to have a little bit more of a detailed update on what's going on, where things are at. And we'll see if we can get something happening so that the town has another forum to come ask those questions. Thank you very much. Going back to the agenda, contracts, number 9, contracts in the greffe, ordonnance de vente des meubles pour défaut de paiement des taxes. S'il vous plaît.
Attendu que l'article 484 de la loi sur les cités et villes, RLRQ, CC, trait d'union 19, stipule que les arriages de taxes municipales se prescrivent par 3 ans. Attendu que le service de la trésorerie, conformément à l'article 511 de cette loi, a dressé un état indiquant 2 immeubles sur lesquels de taxes imposées en 2022 n'étaient pas encore payées le 1er octobre 2024. Attendez que le service de la trésorerie a fait parvenir 2 fois un avis aux propriétaires de ces immeubles afin d'informer que la propriété conformément à la loi pourrait être vendue pour non-paiement des taxes de l'année 2022. Attendez que l'article 512 de la loi sur les cités et villes stipule que le conseil, après avoir pris connaissance de l'état produit par la trésorerie, peut ordonner au greffier de vendre ces immeubles de l'enchère publique. En conséquence, je propose que le conseil ordonne au greffier de vendre à l'enchère publique pour non-paiement des taxes des immeubles mentionnés à la liste annexée le 13 novembre 2024 à 14 heures dans la salle de musique à l'hôtel de ville situé au 50 avenue Westminster Sud, Montréal-Ouest. 2. Que le greffier soit autorisé à entreprendre les procédures requises pour donner effet à la présente résolution. 3. Que le trésorier soit autorisé à enrichir au nom de la ville pour un montant correspondant aux arriages de taxes foncières plus les intérêts en frais encourus.
Merci, la conseillère Small-Pennefather. Je peux avoir l'appui, s'il vous plaît?
Oui, je l'appuie.
Merci, la conseillère Yulin. Tout en faveur?
Oui.
Parfait, merci. Montreal-West Curling Club Property Tax Exemption Request. Just before we move this motion, I just want people to know there are certain buildings that are owned by certain community groups, and they have the right to request an exemption to pay property tax. The decision does not rest with the town of Montreal-West. The decision rests with the la Commission municipale de Québec. But they ask when they're evaluating, and they evaluate this every 10 years, I think. When they evaluate this, they ask our opinion whether or not we have an objection. So this is what they're asking now. So If I have somebody make the motion, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. Whereas the Montreal-Ouest Curling Club is currently recognized by the Commission municipale du Québec for property tax exemption purposes in accordance with the Act respecting municipal taxation, whereas this recognition is subject to periodic revision by the Commission, whereas the Commission has invited the town to give its opinion concerning the renewal of the recognition of the curling club, therefore I move that the town of Montreal-West does not object to the renewal of the recognition of the Montreal-West Curling Club as the owner of a tax-exempt property located at 17 Ainsley Road.
Thank you very much. Councillor Feeney, can I have a seconder, please?
Yes, I second it.
Thank you, Councillor Torres. All in favor, please.
Aye.
Thank you. Administration and Finances approval of disbursements August 24 to September 27, 2024.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. I move that the list of accounts payable from August 24th to September 27th, 2024, totaling $5,202,153.04, and a payroll on the amount of $244,542.04 from period 35 to 39, be approved and paid.
Thank you very much. Councillor Feeney, a seconder, please.
I second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Small-Pennefather. All in favor, please.
Aye.
Thank you. Délégation des pouvoirs pour le mois de septembre 2024.
Oui, Monsieur le maire, je propose d'approuver le rapport de la directrice générale concernant l'exercice des pouvoirs délégués en vertu du règlement numéro 2005-002 pour le mois de septembre 2024.
Merci, la conseillère Yulin. Je peux avoir l'appui, s'il vous plaît?
Oui, je l'appuie.
Merci, la conseillère Torres. Tout en faveur, s'il vous plaît.
Oui.
Parfait, merci. Urban Planning, Site Planning Projects and Architectural Integration Program.
I move to acknowledge receipt of the minutes of a meeting held by the Planning Advisory Committee, PAC, on September 25th, 2024. To approve as presented under the SPAIP the following plans submitted to this meeting in accordance with the recommendations of the PAC as outlined in the minutes. 153 Westminster North, demolition and reconstruction of front stairs and landing and replacement of the railings. To approve with conditions under the SPIP the following plans submitted to this meeting in accordance with the recommendations of the PAC as outlined in the minutes. 345 Valentine North, replacement of one window and removing a window and closing off the wall. 144 Strather North, replacement of cladding, soffits, fascia, gutters, and roofing on the site extension. And 129 Percival, replacement of 27 windows.
Thank you very much. Councillor Torres, can I have a seconder, please?
I second the motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Small-Pennefather. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. We're going to move on to number 12, Public Works. The Circular Economy Month, October 1st to 31st.
Certainly, whereas for 20 years, Waste Reduction Week in Canada has focused on the concepts of waste reduction and recycling as a key component of the transition to a circular economy. Whereas it is now believed that educating Canadians on this new model of consumption should involve more than just 1 week, I move that the town of Montreal-West join Canada's first circular economy public awareness campaign, that the town thereby commit to waste reduction, resource conservation, and community education for sustainable living. And thirdly, that Mayor Benny Masella be authorized to sign a proclamation for this end.
Thank you very much. Councillor Yulin, can I have a seconder, please?
I second it.
Thank you, Councillor Torres. All in favor, please?
Aye.
Thank you. Appointments, designation of the Pro Mayor. So Pro Mayor is signed for a 4-month period. The last Pro Mayors were Councillor Yulin, Councillor Small-Pennefather, Councillor Feeney, and Councillor Torres. So it's coming around again to Councillor Torres. So if we could have somebody make the motion, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I move that Councillor Maria Torres be appointed Pro Mayor for the months of December 2024, January, February, and March 2025, and that Councillor Maria Torres be designated to replace Mayor Benny Masella on the Agglomeration Council as necessary, and that a copy of this resolution be forwarded if needed to the Agglomeration Council. And thirdly, that this appointment take effect on December 1st, 2024.
Thank you. Councillor Yulin, the seconder, please.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I second that.
Thanks, Councillor Feeney. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. I hereby deposit with this council the document which is the title which the town is required to submit to the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing and was approved by the said ministry. And the report is called Annual Report on Drinking Water for the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing. Notice of motion and readings of bylaws. Je donne avis de motion pour un règlement amendant le règlement 20-007 portant refonte du règlement concernant le prime de retraite des salariés de la ville de Montréal-Ouest et modifiant diverses dispositions de celui-ci. Je donne avis de motion que à une prochaine séance de conseil, que le règlement intitulé que j'ai mentionné dans le préambule soit mis à la disposition du public lors d'une prochaine séance et au moins 10 jours avant l'adoption de ce règlement par le Conseil. Sorry about that, folks. We're moving on to the second question period. This is just for things that were on the agenda, if anybody has any questions. And online, I didn't receive any questions either. If I could have somebody proposer la levée de la séance, s'il vous plaît.
Oui, je propose de lever la séance.
Merci, la conseillère Yulin. L'appui, s'il vous plaît.
Oui, je l'appuie.
Merci, la conseillère Torres. All in favor, please.
Aye.
Merci. Thank you very much.